Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to have this opportunity to share my idea and my experience in Korean higher education in general and specifically Korea development support system in Korea recent years. Actually, I'm now working at Seongnam Youth City Foundation since last year. I've been working as a researcher more than 20 years at CRIVET, which is Korea Research Institute for Vocational Education and Training. And last year I turned to be 60 years. And then I changed my career, okay? This is my second career as CEO from researcher, okay? Now I utilize my competency developed as a researcher, as a CEO. So far, so good, okay? So this is the result from my last project at CRIVET. Okay, actually in Korea, the higher education institution have to deal with a very difficult situation now. Okay, so one of the solutions to improve the higher education situation through Korea development support system in Korea. But later I will show that, but in summary, it didn't work. It didn't work. Through through college education in general, career development support, education in specific, it didn't work to improve employment problem, okay? So I will show the experience and I will show how we have to focus on college education, college learning itself, okay? So let's begin. I will talk about first, I propose the question. Can higher education contribute to improving youth employment? Do you agree? Yes? Absolutely? Okay, I will show. And then my data said it didn't. They couldn't direct contribution to employment rate increase of college graduate. If then, what can higher education do for students' career development? So to analyze the question, I will show that labor market situation of college graduate of Korea, okay? And then I will show the career development task of Korean college-age students. They have very unique problems as well as common tasks with other countries' students. And then what have higher education done for career development support for students? I will show the practice, the current recent practice and impact of career education, of higher education in institutions. And finally, I will show my idea and what can the higher education do for student development in general, okay? What schools can contribute to student lifelong learning and the lifelong career development? I will show that my proposal and my strategies. First, since 2008, the new Conservative Party, which is President Lee Myung-bak, introduced a new policy to reform higher education. Especially that government tried to push higher education, do something to increase employment rate of college graduate, because the unemployment of highly educated people has been increasing very sharply and rapidly. So government asks higher education do something for college student, college graduate employment. So in order that the government adopt two policies, two types of policy. One is that just financial support for higher education to increase graduate employment of diverse universities. First, just establish new centers such as career centers, employment centers, career counselor centers, or career startup centers. Startup centers by small and medium business administration ministries, or career centers by career centers for female students by Ministry of Equal Opportunity, or career centers by Ministry of Labor and Employment. Many different ministries provide financial assistance to higher education institutions, and so that they could establish some different types of centers. Okay, so for the recent and the big policies or creative employment centers by Ministry of Employment of Labor to provide career and employment service in comprehensive way in schools. So the government provides about almost 500,000 US dollars to schools. It was actually matching fund from direct fund from Ministry of Labor and the local government. Okay, so there have been more than 70 universities and colleges to adopt these creative employment centers by Ministry of Employment Labor. This is one direction of the policy, and the other direction is the more significant impact on the colleges, which is provided by Ministry of Education. They introduce employment rate of graduate as performance indicators of institutions. See, here in Korea, about 400 universities and colleges are existing, and more than 70% are private. And they have now became more difficulty in terms of financial resources. So government, they have to be heavily dependent on government fund. Okay, so this government tried to distribute the fund, and they pick up one of the major indicator for the performance indicator of the institution as how high the employment rate of the graduate of the individual schools. So it is big things, okay? Many schools try to do something to increase their own college graduate, okay? So so many schools put interest and effort to improving employment rate of the college age. And from that time, employment rate has played a very important role to schools and universities. Okay. So, what happened after it started in 2008? It passed almost 10 years, right? So, what happened to employment rate of a college graduate? Guess what happened? Is it increase, decrease, maintain? It's not so big different. Some cases slightly decreasing, okay? So, if it didn't happen, so what happened? What happened inside schools along with the government policies to push employment rate increasing, okay? So from my point of view, schools start focus on employment, not student learning, okay? Distorted, I think it distorted the college educations in different way, okay? And it didn't take consideration of a basic limit of educational institutions, okay? College and university cannot create jobs, right? By themselves, they cannot create. They create some jobs inside schools, inside higher education institutions, but it's small number, right? They can create a big industry itself. So the government as well as the university didn't take serious consideration of basic limitation, or didn't say that, it is not working, it can be working. They didn't say that, okay? So, and also, depending on the financial resources in school, there are very segmented service centers. There were not integrative service service centers to integrate all different services for students, including career development, academic service, finance assistance, so on. So segmented service parts. This is not that positive result, but there are some positive results too. I will show later, okay? So, see, I will show the evidence. Look at this one. This is the result from my project in 2012. It has been, I guess it must be some change after this project, but the main picture is the same, I guess. So this one is that the horizontal axis is that percent of college graduates among the youth from 25 to 34 years, okay? The percent of highly educated people. And the vertical axis is that the proportion of the professional jobs among all jobs in the society, okay? It's a big data. So in minor sense, on detail, something different, but the big picture is not different. It's correct, I think. So can I see that, the point? No? Can you see that? Oh, no, sorry. Pointer. Laser print? Pointer, no? Okay, see that. See if then. This is Korea. Can you see the Korea? This is part of Korea. And the left part is Germany. Okay, quite different things. Korea, the percent of college graduated, the youth is about more than 6%, 60%. It means 6 out of 10 high school graduates go on to college. Okay, so in Korea, almost 100% of junior schools go on to high schools. So almost all students graduate from high school. So very, very high college attendance rate, college education rate. Okay. Compared to Germany is only just slightly over 20%, less than 30%. And Great Britain, Denmark is less than 40% in terms of the highly educated youth. Okay, but look at the vertical X. Okay, the professional jobs. We categorize some jobs among all jobs. So very highly, the professional jobs means that require high education. So the percent is that in Korea that's only 20%, more than slightly higher than 20%. Compared to Germany, the proportion of professional jobs is more than 40%. It shows it. Korean college graduates must have difficulty in finding professional job in decent job. Agree? So this is, why is that so? partly, there are too many college graduates, okay? Partly, too few jobs, too few professional jobs. So, if we agree to reduce the mismatch, we have to take something, right? Policy tools. Either to reduce college graduate or to increase the professional jobs. Which one is easier? This one or this one? Both are very difficult. Actually, some people say that it is easier, but in Korean case, it is not easy at all, because Korean people love to study. Actually, the labor market is very segmented, dual labor market. So if you don't have a college degree, you can have little chance to get good jobs. So depending on the labor market situation, many people go on to college education, right? So it's not difficult at all. It is not easy at all. This is also very difficult. But we expect that if our economy grow and develop further, the job structure may advance more, right? So it reduces the gap. But my point is that this is not the individual school, individual student problem. It is because it is structure from between two sectors, right? School, education sector, and industry sectors, job sectors. And then I analyze what happened to employment rate of college graduates after the public policy, as I introduced before, right? So from 2011 to 2015, this is the total. See here that job covered by health insurance. We can say if your job is covered by health insurance, it means it's a better job. Right? So the real line is employment of health jobs. The jobs covered by health. So it didn't show that big significant difference between 5 years. Okay? So I may have some big generalization, right? But the data shows that at least the schools' effort and public policy didn't contribute a big contribution to employment situation. Okay, and also the number increase of employment rate in decent job. In decent job means decent job means that the preferred job. Students, they prefer to take public policy, public officials, and the large companies, global companies, and teaching jobs, so on. We define that that's a decent job by student. So we analyze with that category, the employment of rate of decent job. In 2005, only 1 out of 5 students graduate could get their jobs. And also 2015, almost the same proportion. 1 out of 5 can take the jobs. So employment rate has been increased, not improved. Okay? And also decreased employment rate in full-time job. Full-time job versus temporary jobs. It's also the same, right? Here the total student, liberal arts, social science, education, engineering, natural science, arts. See, here 2006 and 2015. 63.1% of graduates get full-time jobs. But later, 2015, 52.5%. It decreased. The job quality has been decreased in this sense. Okay, see, look at this one. Arts, natural science. Only social science and engineering do better than other fields. But basically, during 10 years, it didn't work that much. Okay. And then this is the situation of the labor market of a Korean college graduate. And then I will share the career development task of Korean college students. See, this is the river. I depict the career development task. The river from here, high school graduate, and college entrance. Here, I describe it as a management cliff. Management cliff. What did it mean? Before this time, high school students are very under very tight controlled situation. And in Korea, we have very national standardized curriculum. And every time, every life, every activity is under the school's management and parents' management. But once they enter this college, they just, suddenly they have to be very autonomous, very free people. But they are not prepared to that autonomy and their freedom. Okay? So many students feel that the management cliff, they just get lost. Okay? I think this is for many Asian countries and as well as Korea, right? So and then here, even after they enter the college, they start to think, this is not the one that I wanted. So I repeat the study, entrance, preparation exam, and then drop out. Now many students started to drop out. Here, look at it. The big cloud, big dark cloud. It's horror. It's worry, it's concern, difficulty in employment. See? And grade points, they have to think about grade. GPA. With low GPA, you can do anything. You can do anything. You cannot do anything. So students have to take care of their grade points and drop out and transfer, financial difficulty. I don't know what I'm not sure. I'm fitting in this, my major. They are still, get lost. And some of the students are leave of absence, holding spec. See here in Korea, spec. Spec means something, it's from specification, but it means that you have that preparation packet. In order to get jobs, you need a good GPA and good school degree, and also high English scores. That's the kind of spec, that qualification or preparation packet. So they have to some certificate, professional certificate, or internship. They need to have that kind of whole specification, and they still have that difficulty in finance. And so students, many students they don't want to graduate, even if they fulfill all the things at schools. They worry to go out. Okay? Some students stay in school more than 6 years, 7 years. Then either they go to school or they are employment. So all the things are development tasks, confusion and complexity, resulting from educational issues and labor market situation. Okay? So Korean students are very poor, See, here, look at this. This says, how well did you know it when you decide your major? When you they choose your major as a college entrance. So here, 50%, almost 50%, I didn't know very well about my major, even if they decide to take J major as school entrance. It's just a very vague idea. Or they just match their score, exam score to school, okay? And also two-year college is the same. And this is the high school student protest. Please stop the education to make student dead, okay? To make student dead. Please stop the school to prepare college entrance. We need education. Education, we need learning. This is by high school protest, but very small number so far. I predict more student protest about our education system later, okay? So, see, this is the career plan. I surveyed the career plans of the college student. What do you like to take? What kind of job do you like to take? Here, what kind of career after college graduates? They said here the decent job. Most 50% would like to take decent job. Sorry, I didn't translate this one. This is Korean. This is teacher. This is public official. This is public institutions, public company. This is large company like Samsung, Daewoo, Hyundai. This is small and medium business company. This is global company. This is startup. Startup is only 5%. But it increased a lot than before. And it is a college, graduate school, and it else, okay? See, 50%. 50% students want to go this job, but see, we saw that only 25% can take that kind of job. That we could see also big gap between student preparation, preference, and the jobs that are waiting for them, right? Big gap here. So, and this is career change experience in school. See, at my age, in my period, we all together get into 1977, and then graduate 1981, right? All together from enter into graduate. We follow that path, but nowadays Korean students change a lot after college entrance. See, here leave of absence to prepare another school, transfer to school or college, and the leave of absence, drop out, double major, postpone graduation. Postpone graduation is more than 50%. Okay? All these things means that they have to make career change after college entrance. It means schools, colleges must help them to make right choice, right decision, right? It's an increasing proportion of leave of absence of students except military service. Okay. See, here male student and female student. Male student, if take military service, the male students more than 90%. Almost all male students have to leave of absence because of military service. So during or after and before the more male students more likely to take leave of absence. Okay? So here, what have schools or universities done for career college service inside higher education? So we can see that, I could see that career education for university expanded, has increased both quantity and quality, both in terms of quality and in terms of quantity since 2010. Career development, employment support system in higher education, career education courses, subject, career education workshop, career employment counseling become common among schools. Not before. Before, not the case is not. Only a few schools take this kind of service, provide service. But since 2010, many schools, almost all schools took this service. But we found that there are limits in intensified and individualized service. See? Career exploration courses, employment preparation courses, entrepreneurship courses, career mentoring, career courses, counseling by professors, sorry, mistype. Counseling by professors, a club activity for employment, startup club activity, internship, job preparation activity, career counseling, career guidance website. All these are provided by schools and institutions. This is the blue one is that no experience. Here, all these courses are, many students, more than 70% have some experience in taking courses. But here, club activity, startup, job preparation, there's few, less than 50% have that kind of experience. The satisfaction of job career education. Career guidance by website. They say that it's a very satisfied. That I don't like career exploration courses. They don't like classes. Okay? The satisfaction is lower than this part. It's 5 scales. This figure, I love this figure very much. This is made by me, okay? Why do I like? See, I compare 2 questions. Number 1 is that, to student, how satisfied are you with your schools in general? Ranking, prestige, all together. How are you satisfied? How well are you satisfied? The first question. The second question is, how well satisfied are you with your school in terms of your own career development support? As you imagine, there's a big gap here. We analyzed 23 colleges and universities across the countries. This is quite representative samples. Some of schools, here that blue one is that overall satisfaction of students on their schools. The red one is that my own career development support. Okay, just big gap here. Many schools, the overall satisfaction is higher than my own service. This is the total group. The light one, the final one is that the overall satisfaction is 2.5. My own career development is 2.3. It's 4 scale. 1, not at all. 2 is that no. 3 is satisfied. 4 is very satisfied. 4 scale survey. Okay. So you can see they're different from among the schools. But in common thing is that more, students are more satisfied with their own schools rather than their own career, individual career service. See, it's another figure, the same things. Difference between overall and my career development. See, many schools, overall, for example, A school is that the students are much more satisfied with my general schools, but not my own career development. So look at that. The only exceptional case is the last one. The last one is that even though I'm not satisfied with my schools, but I'm more satisfied with my career development service provided by my own schools. Okay? So, he said that I summarize from this result. I propose that schools must do something for individual student career development service. Okay? And also, this school is not that great school in terms of ranking, in terms of prestige, but they can overcome their situation through very intensified and individualized service to students. They can get more students, and that they can improve their school situation. Okay? They can reverse. They can overcome their weakness through individualized service. Okay? And also, I figure out from the student experience, not school, I asked, student experience, we figure out the self-directed, look at the vertical axis, self-directed activities, and the vertical axis, school initiatives, like class, workshop, group activities, so on. See, we figure out two major cluster variables. One is the cluster is self-directed, the other is school activities, initiatives. Most schools are school initiatives. Most students experienced more school initiative activities. Less self-directed, like club activities, internship, mentorship, like this. Okay? And also, these are schools. School has different patterns. Some schools, like D2, they do self-directed as well as school initiative. They are very focused very strongly on student experience in terms of career development. So it's also that shows that regulation analysis of career service experience on career development competency. How the dependent variable is that career development competency of student. Okay? So look at the self-understand, employment skills, interpersonal competency, self-management, communication, global competency, resource, IT, technology, utilization skills, like this. This is, I will explain later. This is from cases, I will show you. The student competency test. See, we could find that self-directed and school initiated activity experience have a positive relationship with student competency, career development competency, as well as basic core competence skills. But I'm not sure which one is cause, which one is fact, because maybe this is not. We have a very weak position in terms of making causal relations. We can make a correlation, but it is difficult to make causal relations. Because some students with this kind of skills, they are prepared, they are mature, they are more likely to take their services, right? So we need more further research on the follow-up stages, okay? But anyway, there are very close relations, significant relationship between career development, competency, and career experience, career service experience. See, look at this one. And this is another big data from KSESA. KSSI is a Korea College Aid Essential Skills Assessment Tools. It's an internet-based competency test. So since 2006, so far more than 10 years, we collect data. So we can have some Korean student profile in terms of core competencies. The core competency, we have interpersonal skills, self-management skill, global competency, high-order thinking, resource information technology competency, communication. We ask that to students, do you have this kind of programs in your school? Say availability, I ask available. They say yes. See, 77, interpersonal 77, global competence 83, communication 75%. But have you participated? Do you have experience to utilize that programs? They say, no, just half of them, okay? 35%, only 35% say that I utilize, I participate, I experienced their programs. Less than half of the availability. So it is, this say that many schools provide programs and courses related to core competencies, right? But the problem is that only 1/3 of students utilize their programs and courses. This is the common problem through schools. Many schools provide so many programs, activities, establish centers to provide service. The problem is that only a few students, only 20% of students utilize that service. 80% to 70% don't go to the centers. They don't take the courses. The big issue is how to disseminate this information, how to make them to participate in this kind of service. How many programs, how many courses, how many classes your school provide? But no matter how many, if your student don't participate, it didn't do anything, right? So it's self-motivation, motivated to let them motivate is very, very important and difficult. Once you are a college student, they don't listen to your parents, teachers. Just say that they chose not to take that kind of service. That person, the more likely to take their courses, the more likely they are prepared. The less likely to take their courses, their service, the less likely they are prepared. It's a big issue, big dilemma. How to make them to participate, to join their services. Okay. Now I think we put more priority on people, on students to use that kind of service, rather than establish to provide more programs, activities. Okay. We have to think about equality among students in terms of utilization of resources. So here's a very interesting case. Here, see Korea preparation, Korea maturity test. This is from data from KoreaNet. KoreaNet is big career counseling, career guidance website. Among the youth, 2008, almost 20,000 students, college students, and 2015, almost the same number of college students took this test. Okay? And we analyzed the comparison. We compared the two cohorts, self-efficacy of social relationship, knowledge on study field, occupation, self-competency, career decision-making efficacy, employment skills. We could find not big difference during 10 years. Okay, here, see, but slightly increase the self-competency of decision-making, that is all. And career decision-making process. But here, job skills, employment skills are not increased at all. So we couldn't see big different in terms of college career preparation. And also another interesting result. This is from KSSR data. KSS data, this one is 2013, and this one is 2015, 2 years gap, different cohort. And we figure this is big data too. We think is comparable groups. So interesting thing is communication skills. Communication skills are lower than, see, this is different. 2015, communication skills are lower than here, higher order thinkings. Basically, it's global competency and self-management are increased, but everything is lower. Not big difference at all too. Okay. So these are quite gloomy pictures. But from this one, but I found very promising things in terms of educators. Okay. So we have to change framework to lifelong and integrative approach from employment-focused approach. Okay. Because we can do, right? We can do. And next, the second one is developing new indicators for college education performance help. Say competency development, value added through education, value added. After you entering your schools, how well develop your competency through or with your college's assistant and help. Okay? We have to focus on value added. And also, how satisfied. We have to focus on student satisfaction on their college life, as well as including their own career development service. Okay? And the smooth, we have to think about, to care about, to make them smooth transition to adult life. Okay? And we have to think about creating new career path. See, labor market changing so rapidly, so dramatically. Even if we prepare a student right now, it can't continue. It can't sustain in later 2 or 10 years, 30 years. Or we can say that 5 or 10 years framework. Even if 5 or 10 years is not easy to predict. How well prepared my students are, we can not sure, okay? And also we have to think about, see, if labor market has been changing so rapidly, you must have create your own job, your own occupation, so on. And different career path, not a typical traditional career path is not working for them, right? Even if they want, they can't that kind of track career path. So we have to think about to make them design their new career path. And also, even if we can contribute to direct employment rate through college education, but we can contribute to core competency through career education. Core competency is needed for anywhere, any place, in order to, adjust or to respond or to lead the change in society. Okay, so we have to think about core competency, and also we have to focus on entrepreneurship for new creative career path. Okay, finally, see, I will summarize in this one. 자, sharing perspective career development for college student. Number one, student-centered, not provider. We are not interested in what your school provided. We are interested in what kind of experience student get from your school, okay? That's a student-centered perspective. In order that you have to understand, we have to understand student need. What do they want? What are in their situation? And what are their situation in terms of finance, in terms of career preparation, in terms of aspiration. Okay? So we need to integrate approach. We need an integrative system inside schools to connect, to utilize all the resources to help students to develop. Okay? And the student-centered and learning-centered. Even if we can do directly increase the employment, but we can do something for student learning, right? It's learning for lifelong learning skills, lifelong learning and skill development, for support for smooth and effective transition to adult stage, and then creative development, diverse and alternative career path. So this is a big different framework I propose. And then finally, strategy. The small strategy for schools, expansion. Even though they're expanded a lot, but still, schools have to provide more activities, courses, programs to student, okay, career development service. And also, it is important to have integrative agent or integrative system inside school to connect all the service. And also, we have very, very big difference between 2-year college student and 4-year college student, different cycles. So we have to develop different model of career development service and support for professors and teaching fellows. We interview a lot of students. Students say that nowadays in Korean university and colleges, teachers, professors must interview, must provide counseling to their students. They are requisite. Students say that, I don't like. Why? Because professors say always weird things. They said just different things. They have different words, right? They say that non-applicable things, non-applicable solution, non-applicable advice. Most of the teachers, professors say that. Go to the graduate schools. Students don't like that. Only 5% students go to college, graduate schools. Many professors say that you have to go to college, graduate schools. They say no. And also teachers say that you are so, you are lofty, you don't have lofty, goals. It's very secular goals. Professors say something like that. So students don't like that. So I found that we need to do something with the professors' competency development. At least, there are the professional counselor, consultant, but still, career development support is an essential task to school. If then, teachers, professors must have basic competency to communicate, to listen, and to refer or to introduce the networking and resources, right? So I strongly propose to support for teachers, professors, capacity in student career development. This is basic competency. And then later, we need to develop career education performance indicator, not anymore employment rate, okay? So we employment indicator with the diverse tools to evaluate quantitative and qualitative output, like improvement in terms of career preparation, career development, competency, satisfaction, as well as employment after graduation. Okay, so this is all I do have. Finally, I would like to say that this college could increase at least, at most, 4 point percent of employment rate. That's maximum. So this government changed the indicate. They do not focus on that much on employment rate. I think that's right? So don't make schools, universities, don't force them to do what they can't, okay? We can push them on the work that they can do, they have to do, right? That's learning for student development. That's all I like to have. Thank you very much.